Good morning. Give people some time to filter in here before we get started. Also, for anyone, I see mostly people that have attended in the past, but for anybody who is new, if you have questions, the procedure is just to raise your hand and let us know, and then we call on you in order of how we see the hands raised. So if anyone has a question and wants to get us started for the day, please raise your hand so that I can call on you. I still see some people filtering in. I'll give it another minute or so for people. Oh, well, Evan, thank you so much. I see your hand. Why don't you get us started?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Morning.
I have a quick question. So I'm part of the Arizona State Capitol chapter, and how we currently have our membership set up is with a primary and organizational member setup, with one primary at an agency and then several organizational members underneath of them. We have a issue where, well, maybe not an issue, but this is where I need help. We have a situation where we had an event last week. So the event set up on the back end, and we had one of our primary members register all of their organizational members. And then one of the organizational members was unable to attend, and we need to cancel one of their registrations. However, because the primary registered everyone at once, in the back end under events, it's showing as 15 registrations. And I'm concerned to hit cancel because I'm afraid it's going to cancel all 15 instead of just one individual. So I need assistance on figuring out how to cancel just one organizational member.
Okay, which event is it? Is it
It's the 317.
317?
You got it. Yep.
Okay. And which is the group?
And it's going to be under Becky Watson on the left-hand side, um, probably halfway down. Let's see.
Becky Watson here?
Yep, 15 people. There you go.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
So you just go to her event registration and you hit edit. Okay. And
got it.
then which person is not coming
It's Andrea Suka.
or did not come? Okay.
Yeah.
Now I just hit the trash can and deleted her, and then I hit next.
Okay.
And so now we're at 13. So you said it was Andrea, this person. See,
You
she's
got
not checked anymore. And then I
it.
hit next. You can just go through all these questions. Now, when you get to this screen, down here, it automatically is toggled to send a confirmation email, and it would send to the original registrant. I always uncheck this because there's no reason to confuse them.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then hit complete registration. Now you're going to get this pop-up window that says, are you sure you want to do this? You're canceling the registration. Don't worry about it. You're not actually canceling the register. I mean, technically you are, but you're going to immediately re-register all the other people. So you
Gotcha.
can go ahead and hit OK. And then right now the total is 140 instead of 150. She's got 140 credit here. And so this is like I was saying, you're not really canceling. And then you just hit submit payment. Now, what's going to happen is she's going to have a $10 credit in her account. And then you have to determine how you're going to how you're going to let her use that $10 or whether you're going to refund her. So first, we're just going to hit submit payment. And then it was Becky Watson, right?
You got it. Yep.
So now we go back to the control panel, money tab, open credits, and you'll see that she is here with a $10 balance. Now you can let her keep that in her account, and the next time she goes to register for something, there's going to be a $10, just like it said 140 in paren, she'll see 10 in paren. a $10 credit to be applied, or you can refund her. So that's up to you.
Okay, perfect. All right, this is very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions?
Can I ask a question on that? When you
Sure.
were going through and you deselected the one girl,
Mhm.
would it, if they were replacing her for someone else in her organization, if you would have checked the other person, would it have registered them?
Yes. So the
Okay.
first screen, I deleted her, and then after the next screen, it showed everybody in her organization. And if I had put a check mark in one of the boxes from somebody that had not registered, then that person would have taken her place, and then the credit would have been 150, and the total charge would have been 150. You could
Thank you.
also have added additional at that point. Maybe she also wanted to add another person. So then you could have checked another person, then it would be 16 people. The charge would be 160, but she'd have 150 credit, and she'd then have to then she'd have to pay the extra $10.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
June, you have your hand up.
Yes. I'm from Iowa. Go Hawkeyes and Cyclones. Just got to say that. Um, we have our reverse trade show, and we have a one of the attendees that used her personal credit card to register, and I think it was her husband who didn't recognize the charge, and so they disputed it with the credit card company, and so I want to know how she wants to re-register. So if we can't, I'm trying to figure out if we cancel her registration, because we also want to charge her the $15 bank fee, the $2 fee for the credit card processing, and then also the processing charge. We got two also, so it's like, can't remember the total. And then we want to re-register. Does that all make sense?
It does. Okay, so first of all, I think you're probably talking about the non-member convenience fee when you say the $2.
Yeah.
That does not get charged to you. That gets charged to her. So you would not recharge her $2 when she goes to submit payment again. She's going to have to pay that non-member convenience fee to ClubExpress, but
Yes.
it's not something that gets taken out of your account. So you're not charged that $2. The only
But
way you get charged. Sorry,
when
go
it came but we were charged from the first one when it came back.
Okay, all right, let's take a look at a couple things here. So where I'm at is I'm at the money tab.
Yeah.
So control panel, money tab, and then money options. And this is where it shows a couple things like the non-member convenience fee is being charged to user. Okay.
Yes.
So just in case if anybody knows or is unaware, if you're using ClubExpress's merchant account, there is a non-member convenience fee that ClubExpress takes
Yes.
for each transaction. And you do have the option to change it to that you absorb the cost versus charging the non-member. And this again is only when you're using ClubExpress's merchant account.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are on premium. Okay, so that's good because premium also enables us to look at some good reporting within ClubExpress. So I'm going back to the money tab, and I want to look at this bank account activity. And I'm going to go for the current year, current year to date. And I'm assuming it might be this debit adjustment right here.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so let's look at that. Okay, I see I understand what happened. Yeah, okay. So ClubExpress didn't get their $2. So they're
Right.
charging back the $2. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay.
Yep.
And then they also charge the $15 chargeback. So this has gone through already. The dispute has gone through already. So that's good to know. All right. So you want to charge her 67. at the minimum.
Yeah,
And then you want to charge her another 50, not 52, but another 50 to
yeah,
re-register.
yeah.
And then are you also trying to not credit card processing fees though, because those would have,
The fee that we, let me, hold on, I've got,
not the 3.99 credit card processing fee, because that should have been resubmitted back to her. Or resubmitted back to you when it was refunded.
no, that wasn't it. You can't believe how long it took us to figure this out yesterday, by the way. It was awful. So the $1.24, the processing fee, is what I'm looking at. Club transactions by account is what I was working with Carlene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the processing fee that we are charged, the club is charged to use ClubExpress. Is that right?
Yeah, the 3.99 transaction,
Yes. Yeah. So
merchant fee.
so we were
What's the name of the person?
Julie Hudson.
So $1.88 was the credit card fee.
She's got $1.24 on what I'm looking at, what Carlene sent me.
$1.24 would have been on a $30 charge, which is probably a member registration, and maybe
Yes.
you charge 50 for non-members, but it's $1. This is the credit card processing right here. This is a
Yeah.
bank deposit fees,
Yeah, it
and
is
right here.
$1.86. So she's got it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Carlene must have it wrong then.
Yeah, Carlene does,
Yeah.
because it was $1.88 right here. So
Yeah.
you want to add that into her fees,
Yes.
what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. Don't
So
you
what?
think, right? Like, I mean, we shouldn't lose out on our, money because they weren't communicating, basically.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely. If that's what you decide you want to do.
okay.
So what you'll do is, first of all, you said it's the reverse trade. By the way, if you have ClubExpress merchant, the premium merchant account, these are the kind of reports that you'll see. If you do not have the ClubExpress merchant account, you won't get these detailed reports. And the way that I found this report here, just for anyone who was looking at that, it's this, I went to the remitted funds and I went to the details. I went to this report and I went to details and I chose this third one here, which are the fees for the credit cards. Okay. So what I would do is, let's look at the reverse trade show. Let's see, agency registration. I'm going to go back to the back end website
Yep.
events.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
Okay, what is the date of the event?
April 8th.
Actually, I could just do future. Let's see, April 8th, reverse trade show.
This is our first one, by the way.
I just want to double check here. Hudson, right?
Yes. I figured Ronnie would like to hear that.
Okay. So
Congrats.
so you can do a couple of different things. She's already registered here, so we
Yes.
could leave this alone
Okay.
and add a miscellaneous charge to her account for all of the fees. Or you could delete this registration, then make her re-register, but then you're also going to still add an additional member, a miscellaneous charge. So my recommendation would be to leave this alone
Okay.
and to go to her profile, people manager. She's a non-member, so I'm going to check both and I'm going to check all here and I'm going to type in her last name. And right here, you can go to more options
Yep. Okay.
and then go to, why am I not seeing it? Sorry, hold on. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. Not more options. Charge. I'm still learning the new user interface, to be honest. So it is charge credit. And we are going to add and I'm not going to do this because I want you to
Yep.
do the addition, but you're going to add a charge.
Yep.
And then we don't have any charge categories, so we're just going to do it as a miscellaneous charge, whatever the total is. If it's,
Okay.
$50 plus 15 or 52 plus 15
Okay.
plus $1.88, you just type that all one total right here. And then you can put a description, and
Okay.
the account would be master. You'd probably put this under a master event registrations.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you hit save. Now that'll trigger an email to her with a link to pay.
Okay.
If she does not get that email for some reason, with a non-member, if you go to, let's see if I can find a non-member that has an open transaction, just to give you a little idea of something you can do, a workaround here. Let's see. Okay, there isn't one. With a non-member, if you go to their profile and you go to their, let's go Hudson again. If I were to go to her profile and then go to more options and then transaction history, if she had an open invoice here, I would have the option to go, and I think it says payment. I would have the option to go to the payment screen. And when I'm at the payment screen, that's the screen that, like at the end of an event registration, has pay now, print an invoice, pay later.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Okay.
can actually copy that URL. It only works for non-members, but you can copy that URL address and send that URL address to her, and she can just open that up directly and she can make the payment. Again, that only works for non-members. Because if you copy the URL for a member, all it's going to do is if you send that to them, all it's going to do is when they click on that, it's going to require them to log in.
Okay. Yeah. Oh. Okay. No, that sounds good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any more questions? I don't see any hands up. This might be a good time then, Yvonne. We had talked about doing a demonstration in terms of scholarship tracking and distribution. So I do see Stephanie on the call, so I want to thank Stephanie for kind of showing us how they are doing that at the Tampa Bay chapter. But so I'll turn it over to you, Yvonne, if you want to walk through the process.
Sure. Okay, so last week we met with Stephanie, right? You said, yeah, of Tampa Bay, and they are using the points tracking module to keep track of scholarship points and assign scholarship points to their members that can be redeemed for various things. I'm not sure if they're doing this in Tampa Bay, but what I'm going to show you is a way that you might want to do this if you wanted to keep track of scholarship points so that people could redeem them for future event registration or perhaps free membership based on the number of points they are able to gather in a year, in a fiscal year. So what we did is on my test site here, I'm going to show you that I'm going to go to one of the people in my people membership and look at Jeremy here. And under Jeremy, he's got some points hours here. And he's got 5 points approved because he wrote a newsletter article in January and we assigned him 5 points for that. In February, he's got 5 points pending because he wrote a newsletter article. And this one was submitted because he worked the reverse trade show and he earned 10 points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the points tracking under the website and points tracking. And what we did was we created some categories, and you can create as many different categories as you want, and you can assign points outside of an event. So basically that's what we're going to do. So we've got this newsletter contribution that category that we created, and I'm going to give him I'm going to assign him 5 points because he also wrote the March newsletter article. So I'm going to go to add points. And I'm sure for people who are using this module, you've seen this before. And this is where if it were for an event, you would choose the event, but I'm not going to choose the event. I'm going to select the member first. And then I'm going to type in the event. And I'm just, this is not a real event. So I'm going to put March 2026 newsletter. Let's wait a second to keep it consistent. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to put 3/1/2026. And right up here in the description, when I go to the newsletter contribution, I put in paren how many points that gives them, just so that I can refresh my memory here. So I know right now I need to put 5 points. And I'm going to hit submit. And then up here, this is where you will find all of the points that you have. If I only look for submitted, which is, I believe, the default. If you go to this, it's automatically only going to default to submitted. I see 2 people or 2 that are submitted here, but I'm going to check all here just so I can see them all. And these have already been approved. This is submitted. This is pending. Let's see. So now we go to this change status. This opens up from submitted, and I can change that to approved. Okay. And then what I also did was, so now if I go to his people manager here and I look at his profile and I go to his points history, there we've got submitted, approved, approved. So right now, let's say we've got 10 approved, and we want to make sure that he has 10 points in his profile that he can see that he has, okay? Now he can go here, but another thing that we wanted to make sure that you could, like, let's say he has 100 points total for the year, and maybe he needs 20 points to register for an event at no charge. Then what you could do is, what we did was we created an additional member data question. Now I'm in here in the back end as an administrator, so I'm going to click on additional member data. And right up here is, below is the total of scholarship points that you have earned in the current fiscal year. To redeem any points, contact, blah, blah, blah. So an administrator can go in here and say that he has 10 points right now and save. Now let's say he comes back and he says, I want to use 5 points of those. Then, so let me show you what it looks like for Jeremy when he's logged in. Sorry. Log in as a different member. So now I'm logged in as Jeremy. I go to my profile and I click on additional member data. I can see those 10 points, but it's not editable. I cannot change that. An administrator has to change that. So if he were to say, I want to use 5 points, then an administrator would have to go into his account. Go to his additional member data and change this to 5.0. Now here you can do a couple of things. You can also go to his profile and you can go to notes. Now the notes here is red. That means there's no notes in his administrator notes. So again, this is from the administrator side. So there's no notes. Once I add a note to his profile, this will turn to green. So I'm just going to put in here, Jeremy used 5, or redeemed, you could say redeemed 5 points, 3/24/2026. Save. And then see it turns to green. That's how I know that there's a note in there. And these notes will stay there forever unless you go in and delete them. And then what you could do is you could, either register Jeremy for his event at no cost, or you could go to the money tab and you can create a discount coupon. And let's say that discount coupon, I want to make sure I don't have a category. Let's use points redemption. In order to create a discount coupon, you have to have at least one category. So I created one category real quickly. I go back here. I want to add a coupon. And I can just put up here, Jeremy Hulsman, 5 points, 2026, maybe. Points redemption is the category. The activation date is today. Status is published. I can say that this is only going to be used for master event registration. It could be for membership dues or whatever you decide here. For this, I'm just going to put master event registration. Let's say the event is, I could either do, if I know the event is going to be $10 to register, I can do $10. Or if I want to give him free registration and I don't know which event he's going to register for, I can just put 100%. He's a member, so I'm going to change this to members only. If I only want it to be a very specific event, I can, and you can't use it for anything other than event, I can choose that, and then I can limit it to one item, and I can choose which item that he can use that for. And then I can create a code, or I can allow ClubExpress to create the code. I might just do JH 2026 PTS, something like that, limited to, you can't do one, I don't know why, but you have to do 2 uses here. And then you can hit save, and then you just give him that code, and when he goes to register for the event, he can use that code to register, or you can register him yourself. Okay? Does that make everybody understand how to do that?
Yvonne, we need to show how to create that question?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you do there is, that is under the People tab, additional member data. And here I just created a couple of basic questions, but the reason I created 3 is because I really wanted to show you how you can change the display. I'm thinking that you would want this points to be right at the very top. If you have a long list of additional member data questions in your member profiles, you're going to want that scholarship points earned. And maybe you're not using it for scholarship points. Maybe you're using this for something completely different, but you'd probably want that to be visible at the very top of the profile. So in case you don't know, you can change the display sequence by clicking on here, and you can just move these up and down. And once you get it to where you want it, you can hit save. And instead of going through the edit here, I'm just going to add a new question. I'm going to add a question, and this is new scholarship points. Now, I did this as an answer type as a number, because the only thing that's going to be in there is a number. But maybe you want to change that to a formatted text, like maybe long text. And you want to say something like current something like that. Put 2000. This is a way you could maybe put some notes in there instead of using the notes on the account. You could put some notes right into the membership additional member data question. So this member types applies to all. Visible, we only want the members to see this. We don't want the public to see this, so we would change that to member. We don't want the member to be able to edit this, so we change that to admin. And then if it's all member levels, if secondary members of agencies are also going to have points, and you'd want to make sure that you hit primary and secondary. And then hit save. So now if I go back to Jeremy's profile, let's see, I'm going to display sequence again. I'm going to move this one up and then hit save. If I go back to his profile, Jeremy, additional member data. So here again, I made this question a number question, where all you can put in here is a number. This one I made it so that it's a text block, and here I could put something like, YK on 3/24/2026, 5 points. So there's a couple of different ways you can do this. And then this would, you'd probably have something like this, current total. And then you would have and then once you redeem 5 points, you could change that to 45. And that way it's all in one space instead of doing what I did with the notes. That's one way you can, not have to use the notes. If you do decide to use the notes, there is a way to run a report on that. And here, I'm just going to go back into Jeremy's account to show you what that looks like now. And so again, I can't edit this. I'm Jeremy. I'm logged in as Jeremy. I can't make any edits to this, but you might like this idea better than this. But if you do decide to use notes, or maybe you use notes for something completely different, I want to show you that there is a way that you can run a report on notes in the control panel, People tab, reports. I believe it's this one right here. Let's see, member notes. So if you run this report, if you use those notes for any reason whatsoever, I'm not sure if anybody is using the notes now, but if you decide to use those notes and member profiles in the future, you can always run a report of member notes, and it'll be if you only wanted active members, and then let's just see if there's any notes here. So then I'm just going to do this real quick. There's my one note that I have. That's the only profile I have that has a note. So it's another feature, if you're not using it, that you might want to consider using.
You can run a report on the additional member data too, right?
Yes. So on the additional member data, same thing. You can run a report on additional member data here, or you can also just go to additional member data and then export answers. I only want active members, export. Now this is going to run in a CSV, and I'll just drag this over. So here are the names of the members, and then over here is there's that 5 points, and then there's that note that I made in the other question. And you can sort, obviously, by answer in the CSV. Any questions?
I don't see any hands up.
Okay.
One thing I should say is that my plan is to trim this section of the video so that we can have just the information about the scholarship tracking and distribution as a separate video, so that that is accessible to everyone. So just to give you a heads up about that, I would place that in our YouTube playlist on YouTube. So great. Are there, oh, I do see a hand up. Amanda.
Hello. So we're with Iowa again. So we, in response to our reverse trade show, we did need to close registrations, but we're still being contacted by vendors that would like to be included for next year to ensure that they get response right away. Is there a way to keep the vendor registration, or not even registration, the non-member potential to keep their information in the website to make sure that we can reach out to them next year?
There's a couple of different ways. Are they reaching out to you individually, or?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a couple different things you can do. You can, let me log out real quick, looking to see if you have add to mailing list anywhere here.
Oh, maybe on the bottom.
Sign up for the mailing list. Okay, so you don't have any categories here.
Okay.
So let's start with a couple of different things you can do. Under the control panel, communications, and then mailing list categories. So none of them are visible. Show me on AdMe screen. So these NAs, when you see NA, that's a default ClubExpress mailing list. You cannot delete them, you cannot edit them, nothing. This is a test list that you created, and you have it not showing up on the AdMe screen. So let me just show you what the difference is. If I edit this and I say show me on admin screen and save. Now when I log out and I go to subscribe now and I scroll down, that list shows up that I could be added to. So you can add lists for people to join if you want. So first, let me go back because you don't want people joining that test list. So I'm going to go back to communications, mailing list categories. You can see that now this says yes in the column that says show me on admin or add me. And I'm going to edit that and change that to no. Toggle that off. So you could add a category. You can add a category here of future reverse trade shows vendors, and you can toggle that on, and then you could send them a link to let's do the test. So let's use the test for now. I'm going to edit that back and show. And you could just send them this link up here and say, please add your name. You can make them add their name to the list. And then the only thing down here, and they have to check something here, is they're going to check that future reverse trade show. Or if you don't want to do that, you can go back here. Let me just turn this off real quick. You can, or you can do both, actually. You can create a mailing list category, like I said here. It doesn't have to be an add me screen, but as an admin, you can add them yourself. So if somebody is contacting you and they say that they want to be added to future communications for next year, then you can go to the people manager if they're not already in here. And these would be non-members, correct? So let's just look at this here. So let's say it's this person here. You would go to, if they're not in here, then you'd have to add a non-member up here. But let's say it's this person, and we'll walk through both real quick. You would go to mailing list categories. Michael wants to be notified in the future, and you would add him to that list that you just created. Okay. Now I'm not going to do that right now, of course. And if he's a new person that's not in your database already, you just add a non-member. And then down here is the categories, and you would click that list, okay?
Okay.
All right. And then when you go to send an email and it's time to open up registration and you're communicating with them, you would create an email. And under your distribution list here, you would choose everyone in a selected category, and you would choose that list.
Okay.
Now, there were some people in your test list. So if I do this and I hit add, and I'm going to delete this one here, and I hit save. Now it's going to tell, I think you had like 16, okay, 11. I think you had 12. Okay, so one member is refusing communication and 11 would be sent to that group. And that's how you could send them an email in the future saying it's time to register for the reverse trade show. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Jackie, I guess I would respond as Haley does. Would you be willing to speak to exactly what you're looking for in your question?
Yes. we seem to have problems with vendors signing up for memberships when they're just coming to a conference for an expo. So I was wondering if we can add a membership type as vendor and then list the different sponsorship types in our membership administration section.
You can, but the problem with that is then the vendor is going to have full access to your website, not the admin
Okay,
side,
yeah,
of
we don't
course.
want that.
Right. Now, there are ways you can assign limited access to your site based on member type. But the other problem with making them a member is then you're going to be charged, or NIGP is going to be charged because you're charged for all active memberships.
Okay,
So
okay,
I'm not sure that NIGP headquarters would want you to do that.
okay.
So let's look at a couple of different options. What group are you with?
JPEG.
Okay. So is the link to your reverse trade show up here?
Not a, it's just the next conference we'll have with the expo will be in the fall, so we don't have anything current. We will
But
have something that's coming up though.
but what's happening is when they go to register for that, they're joining at the same time.
Yes, they're joining as a member and they're paying the registration fee as a member. And I'm having to go later on once I find out about it. I'm having to go. Well, I was the treasurer, so I used to have to go back in and cancel their membership, and then they had to somehow, it just was a lot to do to reverse everything to get them on the right page because they were vendors and not members.
Okay, so which was the last event that was like that? The fall conference?
Uh, probably that one. Let me see. I don't think. Let me see if it had an expo. So it has.
Exhibitor?
Okay.
This one here?
Yes.
So what I recommend, to be honest, is I can understand how this could be a little confusing. I actually think it's a better idea to have two different events. One is an event for your members to register for, and it's
Okay.
a completely separate link for your members, and then another event for exhibitors to register.
Okay. So okay, two different events. I mean, two registrations.
Right. Now, your
So
exhibitors are
Yvonne,
never
I'm
going
just
to,
gonna jump in here real quickly just to let Jackie know it's based on the previous admin. But there is a video on exactly this in terms of how to set up a conference for your practitioners versus your vendors, sponsors, exhibitors. So I can send you that link, Jackie, if you like,
Please.
but
Yes,
please go
thank you.
on, Yvonne, sorry.
yeah, because when you have the two separate events, now your exhibitors are never going to be members, so you're only going to have a registrant type for them to register that as a non-member, so they won't even be thinking about joining. And then on their event landing page, you can include information here that says this is for exhibitor registration only, non-members, etc. If you you could even include something if you're a member of GPAG, click here to register instead. Or if you're worried then that they'll click on that link and go to the other one, then you might not want to do that. I'm just going to give a real quick example of somebody I work with that has this exact same thing.
Right.
Let's
Okay.
see. Let me open up something over here. Sorry.
And I'll just jump in to say, Jackie, and maybe Yvonne, you could mention it. So the video that I do have is based on the older admin backend, but I think the whole concept of it is the same. So it's just to make sure that you understand that things may look a little different on the video versus what's on your screen, but because it's a little of an older video, so.
Yeah, because we just started to having this problem when it was converted over to ClubExpress. We didn't have this issue prior. And it's like they're not looking at what they're doing, I guess. Because not everybody's making that mistake. It's only a couple. And I don't know if they're trying to get out of paying the higher fee or what. But
Yeah. So let me see here, 2025. Should be this one. Yeah, so what this one does, and I've got several rows, not all of these are visible. What this one does is they have this event here and they have a link to click if you're a member, link to click if you're a non-member, because they actually have separate registration for members and non-members. And then they used to have a link to click if you're an exhibitor, approved exhibitor, but now they just do something a little bit different. But that's how you could do it. You could have a one landing page, one custom page with multiple links, and it could explain underneath each link so that they don't click the wrong link, and then it'll take them to the correct link on the calendar.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I don't see are there any, oh, Donna, you have your hand up.
Hi there. So I'm with Co-op Central Ohio. So I have a question about, we're about to have an event with another chapter that is nearby. And the registration for the event was handled on their website. So all of us from both chapters went and registered on their website. Obviously, so we'll get an attendance list from them of who from our chapter attended. Now, it would be nice if the attendance for that would be tracked in our website like all the other meeting attendance, so that you could go and look at a person's profile and see all the meetings they attended. I know that there's a manual way to do it, which would be to set up an event on that date and then register all the people that attended and mark them as attended. That would be sort of the manual way to do it. I'm just wondering if there's any other way, like can you add an event registration to a person's profile without creating an event? Or is there a way that you can add a note? Is there some other way besides just the manual make an event and put everybody in it method?
Unfortunately, no. The only way is to create the event, and there's no way to upload a CSV in for event registration within ClubExpress. Not by you. I don't know if that's something ClubExpress could do, but if they did do it, there'd be a fee.
Yeah, it's not worth charging a fee or any of that. I mean, the manual way would work.
Yeah.
It's just, I didn't know if there was some way to, you can do a manual transaction. So I didn't know if there was a manual event attendance or something. So I just figured I'd ask. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and if you do decide to do that, what you'll want to do is, let's see if I could just show something with mine, because I don't want to mess up anybody's. What you'll want to do when you go to register somebody for an event, because I'm assuming you're just going to get a list of your members and you're only going to register your members for their tracking of event history, correct?
Right. That's what I was envisioning. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you'll want to do when you go, you'll create the event. And when you create the event on your calendar, under the basic info, make it so that it's not visible, because you don't want it to show up on the calendar. So change it to not visible. And then when you go to register them, sorry, when you go to register them, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to register a member. It automatically checks this box to send them a confirmation that you're registering them. Make sure you uncheck, because you don't want to confuse them.
Right.
So then just uncheck that box, complete registration, and then it's done. Okay.
And then we go back and mark them all as attended.
And then go back and mark, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have another few minutes left. Anyone have a question? They want to raise their hand? Let us know. I don't see anything in chat. I don't see any questions.
Hi, Ronnie.
Oh, okay.
James, I'm talking with James in the chat right now with the Central Gulf Coast chapter, and he's asking about I don't know, James, if you want to come off the the mute, but he's asking about the one thing, the widget, how to add a name to the welcome new members widget.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I couldn't find where I could raise my hand, so I just put it in chat.
That's okay. Yvonne, I don't know if you want to speak to this, but the welcome new members widget, you can't type into it. It is automatically populating those members based off of the settings that you put into the widget. So I think you have it set to 45 days.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
any
you changed it maybe
new-
to 90
yeah.
and then hit refresh and apply changes. Now you have.
Oh, look at that. Amazing. You know what? It was 90 by default and I changed it myself. So I did that to myself.
Do you want me to save this?
Yes, please. That would be awesome. And I did have a new person join. I got an email this morning. Her name's Amy. I think she's in Panama City, but the reason why she may not be showing up is because she hasn't paid, maybe?
Right. She's not going to
Okay.
show up until she's paid. So let's
Bingo.
see. But I'm not showing a pending.
Okay.
What was her
okay.
last name?
Let me check real quick. It is Amy Dodge, Dodge, and she's out of Panama City.
Yeah, she's prospective. She hasn't paid yet.
Okay, 10-4. I'll follow up with her. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a chapter meeting Thursday, so I wanted to just, put that on the website and verbalize. So that was a really cool widget.
Yeah, now this is pretty large font, especially if you get a lot of members joining. Yeah. Now, once there's more, once Amy pays, there's going to be a scroll bar that'll appear.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I went in also and I changed. I don't want those borders anymore. So at some point, I'm going to go back in and go back to no borders where everything's just sitting on top of each other. That blue in those boxes is pretty horrendous. So I'm gonna figure out how to remove those. I'll probably have to look at the last version
I was going to just ask you about that, James, in terms of the borders. So
it's pretty bad. Yeah, I was playing and I probably shouldn't have been playing. And you'll notice also that now I'm framed in the center of the screen and I've got these two white borders on the outside of the whole page. So that James was over there Friday afternoon just kind of playing with it. So
yeah, James, I know we've been working on this site together, on your site together. If you want to stay on after the meeting, I don't know if you have time.
I do, yes, ma'am. I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Yeah,
and thank you for offering.
At some point, you remove some code that was hidden. You might not have seen it. That was making your website a full width, and because you remove that, now your website's not full width. And so
I do not doubt that I have probably done that on accident, not intentional, of course, but I don't doubt that at all.
So I will jump in here because that is the perfect entry statement to really try to emphasize that playing around with some of the website look and feel, or because I'm not quite sure where it is that you made these edits. I just caution against it to a certain degree because it can cause issues on your site in terms of code that you're not necessarily seeing in the back end. So I just want to emphasize that.
Thank you. And I will second that because you've said it every time we've had one of these meetings. And I've just had to jump in and test the waters, and I'm that guy, so I apologize.
No.
So everyone else on the call, please, when they say that in these meetings, they kind of mean it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I already removed one border. So just real quick, I'll show you what I did there for that. So you just go into so somehow you got these big borders. So I'm going to click on this one that still has a border and go to the style and change border thickness to none. And that removes that border.
Look at that. And the left-right thing is the code that I probably removed. So this part's much easier to fix.
Right. But you see how this one, I changed it to none and it's still there. This is this sometimes happens. So we're just gonna, we play around with it there. See, as soon as I did margin top to 0, it got rid of the border. So sometimes you have to play around with it a little bit, but we're getting there.
Thank you. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Great. Okay. I guess I don't see any more questions. So Yvonne, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for attending. We will do this again on the second Tuesday, in April. I guess Kaylee and James, you're going to stay on, but otherwise, thank you everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having these.
Bye.